Hello, my beautiful mixed women. Hello, my beautiful light-skinned black women. I have to talk about this because I noticed there's this new movement on YouTube called Divestment, where they promote swirling and dating outside of the African American community. And I obviously have no problem with swirling because I am the product of swirling. But let's be honest, most black women will never successfully divest. And here's why. First of all, it seems like the divestment movement seems to support interracial marriages. That's great, right? But the problem is that most of the women watching those channels are not even marriage material. You saw the video I posted of Rashida Strober. She is one of the main spokeswomen for dark-skinned women here on YouTube, and if she is a representation of how some of these women's personalities are, do you really think that she would make a good wife? Let's think about this logically for a moment. If this is how she talks on YouTube when she's not even that upset, this is just how she talks on the internet, imagine how she would behave in a marriage when she gets mad at her husband. I know that a lot of black men are used to being abused by black women because some of them come from abusive mothers. If black men don't like being yelled at, having things thrown at them, or called names, what makes you think a white man will want that? Anyway, let's move on to the next point. Proximity. Most of these women have never lived around, worked with, or interacted with non-black people. The main women complaining about black culture are also the main ones who grew up surrounded by it. Most of these women have never even traveled outside of the United States, let alone getting out of the hood. So what makes you think that they will know how to maintain a lifelong 60 to 80-year relationship with someone from a different culture? When it comes to marriage, people pick who they are going to marry based on proximity. But if a young black woman spends her whole life in the projects of Detroit, how is she going to come into contact with the next Elon Musk? And even if she does, what makes her think that she will be able to successfully capture his interest, get him to date her for multiple years, get to know her, bring her around his family, save up money for a ring, ask her father for her hand in marriage, go through premarital counseling, plan an entire wedding, honeymoon, join his finances with hers, and then sustain that for the rest of his life? I'll wait. Another thing I've noticed is hypocrisy. If black men supposedly have higher divorce rates when they marry interracially, what makes you think that black women have perfect marriage rates when they marry interracially? Black men and black women are often a reflection of one another. I see a lot of women complaining about how black men are problematic, but who do you think raised these black men? Black women. Getting married isn't something that just falls into your lap, especially if you want to have a good marriage. It requires planning, strategy, and self-awareness, which leads me to my next point on why most black women will never successfully divest. Self-hatred. If you hate black people and you want to marry a white man, you will attract a white man who also hates black people, just like you. Also, a person who hates themselves does not make a good spouse. If you don't even have the capacity to love yourself, what makes you think you will have the capacity to love someone else? I'll wait. The next reason that most black women will not be able to successfully divest is due to delusion. Delusion. Let's think logically for a moment. Do you really think that the next Jeff Bezos wants to spend the next 30 years of his life with Sharkeisha from Detroit? Too many women want an above average man when they themselves are below average. I've seen some of these divestment women brag about women who are married to millionaires and billionaires, not realizing that not every Asian or white or Latin man is a millionaire. There are more non-millionaires than millionaires. So statistically speaking, it's more likely that they will get a man who is not a millionaire rather than a man who is one. But these women are not speaking out of logic. They're speaking out of anger. Most of them are just angry at black men for not giving them the worship they desired. And a lot of these women are now looking for white men to give them their narcissistic supply. They think that they can be an ugly, broke-ass ghetto broad who works at Chick-fil-A and marry Elon Musk. And these guys that they're trying to go after are not stupid. These billionaire Mark Zuckerberg types are not looking for some ghetto, trashy woman to come in and steal all of their wealth. These men are not stupid. So this is how I know that a lot of these divestment women are just delusional and they're just looking for a non-black man to come in and solve their financial woes. If some of these women do divest, they will often get a bottom shelf non-black man at best. I am seeing a rising trend where we now see black women going out and proposing to white men and getting pregnant by him and getting publicly cheated on. Jodie Turner-Smith's husband is a Dusty. I don't care what anybody says. He is a bottom shelf Brad, he is disrespectful, and I would never promote an exotical getting down on one knee and getting with a man like that. After this man got dumped by his white girlfriend, he bragged about Jodie proposing to him and then publicly humiliated her and had photos taken of him kissing another woman just days after him and Jodie were together at a birthday party. That is completely humiliating. And like I said, I would never want that for an exotical. Imagine being pregnant and going through all the changes of your hormones and gaining weight, and instead of your husband supporting you and planning a baby shower and building a crib and doing all those things, he's flying in another girl so he can cheat. That is Dusty behavior. Isn't that why you left black guys? Because you were tired of being impregnated and cheated on? So why would you let a white man do it to you? Anyway, moving on. The next reason most black women will never successfully divest is because a lot of them can't attract a husband of any shade. So how do you expect them to attract a husband of an entirely different culture? No matter what culture the man comes from, he still won't want to marry a woman with a horrible attitude. Any high-value man with integrity will want respect from his woman. So if you're coming at him cussing and calling him Brad and Ling Ling and Jose and breaking bottles on his head and twerking on the tables at family parties and coming into a country club smoking a blunt when his parents are there, do you really think he's going to want to be with you? Think about that for a second. Do you really think that any man worth having wants a woman who is trashy and annoying? That's delusional. And a lot of these black women that I see think that all a guy wants is sex. A lot of black women only know how to be a friends with benefits. They don't know how to get a ring. They don't know how to be wives. Sex only lasts for what, an hour a day? And I'm being generous by saying that. You still have to spend 23 hours a day with that person for the rest of your life. There's no way you can sustain a lifelong marriage all the way up to your 80s with just sex. No, you're delusional. I've noticed that black women are good at attracting sexual attention, but they are not good at attracting non-sexual attention. And it's the non-sexual attention that leads to marriage. Because marriage is about more than just sex. That's why even though black women are some of the most sexually active, they are still jealous that lighter skinned and mixed women get married first. It's because a lot of exoticals know how to get the attention where it actually counts, and that's the non-sexual attention. I'm talking about getting attention for actually being feminine, beautiful, smart, talented, a good friend, a good mother, a good wife, a good girlfriend, etc. This is Blackistan women's biggest weakness. They don't know how to get the most important type of attention, the non-sexual attention that leads to marriage. I'm not saying that sex isn't important, but I am saying that any woman can have sex, but not any woman can be a wife. And that's why black women are mad. It's because they've been pumped and dumped. Trust me, they're having sex. A lot of them have multiple kids and baby daddies, so they're getting sexual attention, but that's not what they ultimately wanted from men. They wanted the ring. They wanted a man to dedicate his life to her. They wanted a man to look her in the eye and say, there's no other woman that I would rather have in this world than you. And they never got that. So now they're mad. They're mad at the women who do get that, which tends to be exoticals. And then they say men are colorists for doing that. That's not colorism, sweetheart. That's called inner beauty, and it's clearly something that you need to work on. I can't stand this narrative that anytime a mixed or light-skinned person gets married, it's only due to colorism. No, honey, people have this thing called love and commitment, and if that woman is in a happy, healthy marriage, it's because that man saw something special in her to the point where he wanted to commit his life to her. It's not due to her skin tone. Do certain people have preferences? Sure. There are men out there who prefer dark-skinned black women too. So stop trying to put everything on your skin tone as an excuse. If marriage was truly only based on skin tone or outer beauty, then every single dark-skinned woman on this entire earth would be unmarried. And we know that that's not the case. There are things you can do as a woman to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you can attract a husband. Marriage is not something you can be passive about. It's not something that just falls into your lap. You can't say things like, I don't care about marriage, and then expect to get married. How do you think your man is going to feel if he just spent $5,000 on a wedding ring and he's planning to fly you out to the Caribbean so he can propose, and you're over here saying things like, I don't care about marriage? Are you serious? Some of these women are delusional. If you want to be married, the first thing you need to do is be honest and admit that that's what you want. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be married. It seems like a lot of people see it as being a pick-me or being soft if you say you want marriage. But if you're going to lie to yourself, okay, that's fine with me. I mean, hey, it's your life. And here's the thing, attracting someone to fall in love with you truly is more about who you are as a person. And I'm not trying to be shallow, but we have all seen conventionally ugly people who are in happy marriages. I've seen 80-year-olds with all kinds of wrinkles happily married. I've seen some people who are disabled in happy marriages. I've even seen women on my 600-pound life who are happily married. Some of these women are almost 1,000 pounds, but they have their husbands so deeply in love with them that these husbands are quitting their jobs so they can go buy their wives cheeseburgers. If you watch some of these shows, there are men and women traveling to other countries and moving all over the world just so they can spend the rest of their lives with a particular person. So don't try to sit here and lie to me and say it's all about skin tone. That's completely false. The next reason that most Black women will never successfully divest is due to bad backgrounds and lack of role models. It's unfortunate that a lot of Black women come from bad backgrounds and have bad father figures in their lives. But if you do have a good, strong, solid father figure in your life and your mom and dad are married, you are at an advantage. Because as a woman, your father will teach you what a man wants. Your father will help teach you how to attract a good man to be your husband. And the same goes for you, young men. If you have a good mother figure in your life and she is married, your mother can teach you how to treat a woman and get her to want to be your wife. Another issue I see that holds a lot of these women back from getting married is lack of mental health education. They think they can pray everything away or get some crystals or light some incense and everything will be okay. They think if they stomp and holler and shout and listen to a Baptist preacher, everything will be perfect. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's spiritual beliefs. You guys know I was raised in a very strong Christian background, but a lot of women today are walking around with narcissistic personality disorder. Even some of the leaders in these churches and spiritual movements are narcissists and scammers. I see a lot of women with undiagnosed bipolar disorder, women who are clinically depressed, women with schizophrenia, and all kinds of personality disorders that they have not addressed. Another reason why most BWs won't be able to divest is because they have a love for exotical and non-Black men, but a hatred for exotical and non-Black women. So if you marry a white man, how are you going to treat his sister? Are you going to call her names like Mayonnaise and Becky? Is that what you're going to call your white mother-in-law? Are you going to call her names like Karen? Or what if you marry a biracial man? Are you going to call his sister a biracial Becky and his mom a Karen? You can't get away with this type of behavior in other communities. You can't hate a particular community and then try to join it. That's not how life works. People will see right through you, which leads me to my next point. Lack of education about the culture of the men you are trying to swirl with. You've never interacted with people of other cultures. You know nothing about them. You're not even good at choosing men in general. But suddenly, because he's white, he's going to be your new Prince Charming? You're telling me that you're going to go from Pookie and Ray Ray to Jeff Bezos? You've lost your mind. Look at what happened to Jodie Turner-Smith. She literally chose a white version of a Pookie and Ray Ray. He literally is a Pookie in a white man's body. He refused to propose to her. She had to propose to him. Jodie tried to trap him with a baby, and that didn't work, and he still cheated on her. Joshua Jackson is also estranged from his father and said in an article that he hasn't spoken to his father in 20 years. So you divested so you can get away from Black men who don't want to propose to you, who cheat on you, and who have daddy issues. And so you went and chose a white man who didn't want to propose to you, cheated on you, and has daddy issues. Once again, their hypocrisy is showing. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section.